what's up, guys? Hey, so today, I wanted to do something different, a different video that I had in mind, and I want to see what your guys' reaction is to it. Okay, today on this video, I am going to read a celebrity adult fan fiction. Okay. So, let's see, celebrity adult fan fiction. So let me just pinpoint what fan fiction is. Okay, for some of you that don't know, fan fiction is a hobby that people write stories based on, I think, person, place, or thing. Let me give you an example. I'm totally looking at High School Musical right now. Let me give you an example. I'm going to use Zac Efron as an example. Okay, so say if you're writing a story where you have this magical date with Zac Efron, and then you guys, do a couple things. Y'all don't know what the word you're going to do. Let's just say, okay, you guys had a nice romantic date, and you go home and have sex. Okay, that's what fan fiction is. Okay, it's based on, it's like your little fantasy. Like you can write about anything. You can write about your movie, a favorite movie, or your book, or you can write the characters based on that movie or book, etc., into whatever story that you like, and that's what fan fiction is. For me, I like fan fiction. I like fan fiction on a certain level. Some of the stuff that some people will write is extreme. Like I heard about this one fan fiction like a couple years ago with the One Direction boys, and I reviewed rants about that, and that's just utterly, completely disgusting and very disrespectful. I don't, condone any of that ridiculous bullshit. If you don't like nobody, then don't write about them. Anyway, yeah, so this is what this is. And for me, I enjoy fan fiction. I enjoy all kinds. There are times where I remember I was exposed to fan fiction when I was 16, and I was a big Harry Potter fan, and they would write all kinds of stories based on the characters. And actually, my first story, I never forget, my first story was actually a homosexual story involving Harry and Ron. Okay, I'm not gonna get into any of that because we're not gonna discuss about that unless if you viewers are over the age of 18 and you want me to talk about it, I'll make that in a separate video. But anyway, yes, so I'm going ahead and read an adult fan fiction. And also, before I continue, I want to point this out, and I'm planning to put it in the description as well, that if you are under the age of 18 and you're completely clueless about what I'm reading, which is required of sexual material, I advise you do not view this movie. And I mean, do not view this video. I'm sorry, video. And I'm also going to just put a little restriction noise, just for, just to be, on being hands up. Okay, so anyway, like I said, I'm going to read a celebrity fan fiction. Where my minutes go away. The fan fiction where I found is, like over the past weekend, I was reviewing, a lot of videos of the Backstreet Boys and Aaron Carter. And it kind of got me wondering on the Backstreet Boys part. I remember, like, I had my experience of reading celebrity fan fiction, but the funny thing is I read it to myself. How you read to yourself. This time I'm actually like reading it out loud, and hopefully I don't sniggle or giggle or anything like that. Yeah, so I ended up finding a story here on my tablet, and it's kind of like extreme. I mean, I was kind of like reading it to myself and just browse down or just browse through the letters, but it's like, oh Okay. So this one here, this fan fiction here is based on one is it's a Backstreet Boys story, but it's based on Nick Carter. For those of you who know the Backstreet Boys, you know who Nick Carter is. Oh my god. And I'm gonna challenge myself actually read out loud because Nick is also like my favorite Backstreet Boy along with AJ, and well, hell, all of them are great, but it's kind of like it's funny because like what I'm getting ready to do, so it's like whoa. Okay, so again, this is a adult fan fiction story. It's called Love in an Elevator. I guess that means like none. And the author is by Tiger Sweet. Again, this again, like I also want to make another disclaimer that this is not something that I wrote. I actually found this online. I would not write anything, anything of a sort in my mind, but not to myself. Okay. So anyway, his story was published back in 2002. Yeah, I know that's old. That's like over at least 12 years old, but I came across it. It's still online on to this day. I actually found it. I think this website, let's see, the Backstreet Boys fan fiction. Like you can actually browse for it if you're looking for like any kind of adult material that consists of the Backstreet Boys. So obviously this was like published for some time. So I'm gonna get started. No mind me talking or anything like that. This is the first time I ever do a reading out loud. Like if I come across another fan fiction or anything like that, I'll just get straight to it. Okay, so this one's called Love in an Elevator. Okay. It looks like it's based on a song. Okay, so Love in an Elevator. So I'm gonna begin. Love in an elevator, living it up while I'm going down. Love in an elevator, love it up until I hit the ground. So like it's a verse or something from Aerosmith. I haven't heard it, so I guess that's just the intro to the story. Okay, so this is what it is, what's going on. Okay, I'm gonna start it. Okay. When Nick stepped onto the elevator at Jive's offices, the first thing he noticed was the blonde legs like heaven, golden locks, wearing a short red skirt and cream silk blouse, open just enough to allow Nick to get a glimpse of the firm, creamy flesh. Yes. Sorry. Yes, she was fine. His cobra eyes racked over her curviest form, slowly, a hunger building within his gaze. Okay. The blonde winked saucily and leaned back against the wall of the elevator. She smiled openly at Nick, for there was just the two of them. Just the two of them. Nick stepped towards her, giving encouragement by the wink, and smiled lazily. "Hello, sweetheart," he purled at his hand. As his hand rose to press against the wall of the elevator, just over her right shoulder, while he leaned towards her, close enough that she could feel the warmth of his breath still over her. "Hello," she replied with a slightly southern accent. Her eyes sparkled brightly as she flashed another smile. "What stroke of luck was that?" Nick asked himself as he moved a bit closer, his eyes dipping to get a full effect of her ample cleavage. "I never seen you in this building before. Are you new?" His eyes devoured her as he spoke. I'm like picturing that as I read because he really has very like glazing eyes. See. She merely nodded, shifting a bit shifting a bit to allow her blouse to open a little more, giving Nick an even better view. Nick licked his lips. Oh, he wouldn't give just for a taste of that sunlit flesh, swelling out of the black lace fringe of her bra. he his left hand rose as as if of its own accord, lightly cupping the voluptuous flesh of her right breast. His thumb teasing till he felt the nipple harden under his attraction. He smiled as it did. Okay, it seems like I'm just like tripping up a bit on this. Oh, okay. We roared with a soft gasp, followed by a tender croon of pleasure, as the blonde seemed to melt under his touch. Nick turned slightly, removed his hand from her delicate flesh, only long enough to hit the stop button. Halting the elevator's descent. He turned back at her, seeing a reflection of his own desires within her soft eyes. His hands numbly unbuttoned her blouse, taking his time, his eyes savoring every inch of her as he exposed her satin skin. She protested not, nor did she move as he peeled off her first blouse, and then her bra, exposing her ripe, full breasts with pert nipples. His mouth watered. Hands fondled those scrumptious melons of flesh, kneeling them in his palms as his mouth descended to her, capturing her velvet lips as he kissed her deeply, his tongue ravishing her sweet young mouth. Drawing her tongue back into his mouth, he suckled upon it, even as his hand roamed down the taut plane of her belly, until it felt the warm flesh of her upper thigh, then traveled higher beneath the hem of her little red skirt, disappearing beneath the material as she began to squirm, her croons and whimpers increasing as he smiled into the kiss. Give me a minute. The tip of his fingers teasing the damp spot on her panties between her lean thighs. She moaned low in her throat as she wiggled against his fingers, her body aflame with sensuous he aroused within her. "Please," she whispered, breaking the kiss. Her lips a hair's breadth from his. "Please," she whispering again, in a pleading voice. Nick didn't need to be begged. His cock was rock hard, strained against his pants as he pressed in against her flat belly. His own lust driving him to wrap an arm around her waist, hosting her up against the wall of the elevator, even as his other hand tugged her shirt up around her hips. She wrapped those legs around his waist, grinding her sweet. I'm not going to say the P word because it will embarrass me to say. I'm just going to say vagina. I guess that's vagina. Got her sweet vagina against his throbbing cock. As it was now Nick's turn to moan. He grabbed the flimsy material of her panties and with a swift tug ripped them away. He didn't hurry to loosen his trousers, to allow his pulsing member to spring free. The head swollen, beads of precon oozing from the eye. Oh God. Please, she begged him again, just before her mouth recaptured his, kissing him deeply. Her mouth tasted frankly of peppermint, yet warm and alluring. He thrust his hips forward and upward, sinking his thick cock deeply into her tender hot folds amid the muffled moans peer from beneath her kisses. He positioned his hips back and forth, alertly, grind up into her steaming center. It was pure heaven. She was so tight, so soft, engulfing his cock into her velvet sex. He withered away, panting and moaning, even as his mouth devoured hers greedily. She clung to him, wiggling and adulting her slim hips. She then broke the kiss as she arched her back, her head thrown back, as she cried out, "Oh, I'm going to come." At those words, Nick quickened the pace, pounding into her mercifully. He then felt the first contractions as her vagina clamped around his cock, milking at it. The sensation was too much to bear, and then let loose with a cry of his own, and thick hot streams of sticky cum shooting deep inside her. The pace slowed and then stopped. He released her, gently buttoned up her blouse before straightening himself and retrieving her panties with a soft laugh. He held them forth to her with a lopsided smirk and a wink. She accepted them with a smile and tucked them into her bag beside her on the floor of the elevator. Nick turned and pressed the start button on the elevator, resumed its downward descent. He turned to her once more and smiled. The elevator doors opened, just as Nick opened his mouth to speak. Several people stepped in, crowding him between him and the blonde. The door closes, and Nick looked around, a tall brunette determined to get the blonde's phone number, only to find her gone. She must have stepped out as the others entered the elevator. Nick thought about whenever he stepped onto the elevator, for he never forgot the wild ride with the blonde, whose name he never knew. Okay, and that concludes the story. Seemed like it was a little grammar impaired, but I'm gonna try to do better next time. So yeah, so that wraps it up. That's all of the story. To be honest, that was like the first time I actually, like I was saying, I was just browsing over it. That's like the first time I actually read it, and that's the first time I ever read a fan fiction out loud. And I look to do more of this. Yeah. So and yeah, so that's all that I am going to do for this video. For you guys who actually view it, if you have a story, whether if it's, celebrity or any type of story that you would like for me to read, link it down in the comments below. Also, if you have any questions as to, I know you guys are probably not even going to find this, but if you're looking for like any other like adult Backstreet Boy fan fiction, just try to Google it, because that's what I did. I tried to search for it, and they have some also at the adultfanfiction.net site. And yeah, because those are about at least almost 12 years old. Some of them. I'm not sure if some of them are recent, but they do. They have all kinds of like celebrity adults, celebrity fan fiction, celebrity adult fan fiction. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so they have that. Okay, and for those of you like comment again, if you want me to read a story, make sure you type in the link. I'll have a chance to review it and try to go over it before I make another video because I don't want to be stuttering like what I've been doing. And also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. Please don't report me again. I was not the one who wrote the story. I just wanted to share it just to see, you know, what you guys are going to say. And also, don't forget to subscribe to me, Jerry Ford, on YouTube. And I'll see you guys next time.